Hey legends, welcome back to another PKT video. Today we're going to be talking about Whitebeard. So I've decided to run the Whitebeard deck. Before this was basically Kaido, but we'll go through my deck and talk about each card and how it works in the deck and what's good about it. So the Edward Newgate, he is basically on borrowed life. So he's a 6k, 6 life, but the catch with this leader is at the end of your turn, add one card from the top of your life cards to your hand. So at the end of each turn, you're taking a life card. There's only 2 cards in OP02 that stop you from taking life, and that's the 1-cost event card and the Edward Newgate 9-drop card. So we'll go through the cards that are in my deck. And at the end, I will leave a list there for everyone to go and have a look at. If you guys think there could be any improvements, chuck comment down below. I'm happy to have a look at it, see if it works. So we'll go through the 1-drops. We have 4 of the Tony Chopper blockers. Now this is a really cheap blocker and you can chuck it down with other cards. Like if you're at 10 Don, you can chuck down the Edward Newgate and this. If you're at 8 Don, you can chuck down the Ace and this. You can chuck it down at the start. So this is a really good card all round, and it only costs 1. So it's a blocker, it's annoying. This one you'll find in the Straw Hat starter deck. So this is the only way you can get it. But definitely a good card. We have Otama. Now this is an OP01 card. It is a 2000 counter, but I really like playing this card. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power during this turn. I run 4 Vistas and 4 Jet Pistols, so this is really good. It also could go alongside with Edward Newgate because you attach 2 Don under him and swing. You're minusing 3000 power characters on board as well if you can get it down as soon as possible. So this is a really good card, and I run 4 of these. I run 4 Vistas. This is also a counter. So on play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3000 power or less. So this actually plays alongside this card. So if they're at 5, you play Otama down and then Vista the character off board, or Jet Pistol. So I really like having this combo in my hand. It really helps clear the board a bit. I run one of these guys. So here's a counter. Here's a 3-cost. His ability is attach 1 Don during 1 Don your turn. So you don't even have to swing with him. You just have a dot underneath of him, and all of your characters with a type, including Whitebeard pirates, gain 1000 power. So this isn't a bad card. This is actually pretty good, especially if they don't deal with it straight away. By the time you get down to 1 life and less, and use Moby Dick, this card sits at 7. So, or 8, I think, 7 or 8. I run 3 of these 4-drops, so this one's not too bad. I do try and play this one out a fair bit. I try and build up my board really fast, without it hopefully getting killed off, just because you need to get these characters on board pretty quick. And so did that 3-cost came out of OP02. Now this next card is actually quite wild. I like this card. So this is the 4-cost blocker. He's a 1k counter. But his ability is on KO, you may trash 1 card with a type including Whitebeard pirates from your hand. If you have 2 or less life cards, play this character card from your trash rested. So just say you block and you got 2 life cards or less. Let's say had this card in hand, you trash this card out and bring it back to your board. rested. So this is a really good card. A lot of people do make the mistake of putting it out too early and not realising that they need 2 life or less to be able to actually play it out. Like, play it back out from trash. But this is a really good blocker. Next set's going to get even better because there is another Marco card that is an attacker that is exactly like this card. Except, I did read on it, it doesn't state 2 life or less. So it's any time. So next set is definitely going to be a lot better for Whitebeard. So we have 4 of these. They're a 2k counter and they're also a rush card. So you play it out for 4, attach 1 underneath, and it gains rush if you have 2 life and less. So if you have more than 2 life, I wouldn't be playing this card out straight away. Not unless it's going to be a final swing kind of card. That's when I'll be playing it out. Or if I want to get an extra swing in and I've got the spare Don, definitely will play it out then. So he's also out of OP02, same with Marco. Most of these cards now are out of OP02, I'm pretty sure. We've got 3 of King Drew. So here's a 1k counter, 5 cost, 7 drop. So majority of these ones, if you got Moby Dick and you hit that 1 or less life, he goes straight to 9k. So you got to think these cards going to have an extra 2k on them when it hits 1 life or less. With the Moby Dick event card. So he's also out of OP02. Now this card is more like an endgame card that I've found out pretty much. So on play, you give 2 of your opponents minus 3,000 power during their turn. Then if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, this character gains rush during this turn. So this is a really good card. He goes straight to 9k if you have Moby Dick on board. So he's a really good card to play out. And yeah, it's just a really good card. I like this card a lot. Now we're up to our 9 drops. So we've got our 9 cost Edward Newgate SRs. So on play, up to 1 of your leaders gain 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Then you cannot add life cards to your hand using your own effects during this turn. So this is where you save your life card. Attach 2 Don when attacking, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. So this is a pretty decent card. And I run 3 of these, and also this is out of OP02. I run 4 Radical Beams. I try not to use this card until I hit down the 2 life or less point. Because once you hit down to the 2 or less life point, you get an additional 2,000 power. So instead of it being a 2k counter, it ends up being a 4k counter. So I try and hold out on using Radical Beam unless I have low life. But it is a really good card. It has saved me a fair bit out of attacks. And I run 4 of these, and this is out of OP01. Now, Seaquake. Now, this is a new card for OP02. It's a 1 cost. The main is if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. So this is also another card that I forgot to mention at the start. That can also match up with Otama. And pretty much, just say you got a 5 cost, you Otama it for 1, and then you Seaquaking it for another 1. So you're only spending 2 Don to get rid of a 5k card, which isn't too bad. Or Otama and then Vista and have something on board. So either way it works. It depends how you want to play it. If you don't want to use all your Don, or if you want to have a body on board. So it is a pretty good card. And I forgot to mention, in the picture's all hollow. So it's pretty cool. We have 3 guard points. It's a 3k counter for the cost of 1. It's out of the structure deck. This also is pretty decent, this card. You pay 1 Don for 3,000 counter power, which is actually pretty decent. So that's just another 1k counter. And we're up to Moby Dick. So I have seen in recent times in Japan, they have banned this event card. If you basically got this card on board and you get down to that 1 life card or less, all of your characters gain an additional 2,000 power. So, yeah, the card reads, if you have 1 or less life cards, your Edward Newgate and all your characters with the type, including Whitebeard pirates, gain 2,000 power. And the trigger is to play the card. So, it's a really good event card, and I really hope it doesn't get banned in Australia, but I'm not liking it. If it's already banned in Japan, it's probably going to get banned. So this is what's going to let the deck down a little bit. I thought this was a crazy card for an event. Oh, sorry, a stage. And then finally, my favourite card. I run 4 Gum Jet Pistols. So the main for it is to KO up one of your opponent's up to one of your opponent's characters with 6,000 power or less, and its trigger is to activate its main. So it's a really good card, especially if you get it off life and you can kill something off board for free. Why not? I've managed to jet pistol someone 4 times in one game, so it's not very fun at all. So that is the Whitebeard deck. I think it goes pretty good. I think my biggest struggles are Kinemon and Zoro, being Zoro is a rush deck. Whitebeard isn't as rush as Zoro. And Kinemon is all about resting everything. Green has always been a strong deck in the meta. But yeah, I'll change over to the other screen and we can look at the card list. So instead of scrolling all the way back through of what you just watched, you can just go right to the end and have a look at the card list. Alright guys, so we've just swapped over to the other screen. Here is the card list right over, wait, that way. So this is exactly what I run in my Whitebeard deck. So if you guys want to give it a go, check out if it works, by all means, here is the card list for my deck. And I really appreciate you legends for dropping in, checking out the video, sticking around, stopping by, smashing the like button, leaving a comment down below. And as always guys, stay legendary.